So I'm still working in this research project on game based learning in a museum, and it's a second game that has been designed for another museum, a museum about food production. So, still processing with our game can help teenagers to develop critical thinking and knowledge about food production. So, food production and complexity are relatively complex topic, and the complexity and systemic nature of food production is due to diverse factors, including cultural aspect. I don't know about you, but who here enjoy eating insects? Nobody. And well-being and health, food variety and nutritious food may improve your health. You know about that. Pollution, food production can have significant environmental impact, such as intensive livestock farming can generate greenhouse gases emission, thereby contributing to climate change. And there is also the management of limited source of energy, human energy, fossil energy. Food production will require a lot of energy, whether human, sustainable, or fossil-based energy. And the challenge we faced was to design a game allowing museum visitors to understand the systematic relation between those factors during a game museum visit. But we didn't face it alone. We collaborate with Digital Kingdom, where game developers, game designers, IT engineers who were in charge of the development of the game. They accept us, even though we were researchers, because we needed to collect data and we wanted to go further in that research project. We also have with us some teachers, and it's always useful to have teachers with you because they know their students more than us. And we had access to classroom, we could prototype and test with them. And they were already involved in our previous game, the one I just presented before. And of course, museum staff member was also deeply involved in the game design process. And all together, we went from ideation. So what we did first was the game jam, where we had first idea about game mechanics and a game that should allow us to understand the interrelation in this food system. Then the Digital Kingdom's game designer did an amazing prototype paperboard, and we tested with the teachers. Then the team started developing, adding concept, visual concept as well, and they developed the game. So it was firstly tested, not in the museum, in classroom, with students on tablets, and then it was, on the last pictures, implemented in the museum. This is where the game began. And we came back to have some experimentation and data collection about the game. So let's have a look at the game itself. The pitch is the following. Isolated from the rest of the world, you have to recreate the right environment to feed the population stuck in the museum for the next 20 years. So let's have a look at how it began. So players are welcomed by the game master, a game curator, museum curator, and he pitched them the game, he explained them how they must play and give them some talent. And the players start wandering around in the museum. They have a map to find themselves, and they must feed a short population. So this is the main gaming interface. What can be seen up there is food production. So the aim of the game is to feed 30%. Why 30%? Because in a class, we are between 20, 25, 27, and with the museum staff, people right there, we could be around 30, so we choose to be 30%. There is, of course, loss, food production loss, and there is energy that is available, like full fossil energy, so we can use machine in order to produce some food, sustainable energy, and people. We can give tools to people in order to feed themselves. And they have a map of the game, and they can allocate some space in order to produce some food. And the main game mechanics is to move around in the museum and find some physical space and then allocate various units. For example, you can choose between livestock farming, pigs, chicken, cattle, sheep, fish, insect. Otherwise, you can have some cereal, pearls, market gardener. You can have a processing facility, which will help you to reduce food loss. What can be seen here as the first systemic between, if you want to have a process facilities, you first need to have some animals. There is an agronomy laboratory which gives you some bonus if you use it right. And then there is also food facilities that will reduce your food loss. You can add a market, a restaurant. And you can decide between those allocations. And then, for example, she chose to have some fish. So the map of the image changed, and the museum has now a fish producing unit, and so on and so on. So what can be seen? It's now I have a better food production, but I still have some place to allocate. And I did it by myself. I went quite full green with a lot of cereals, pigs, chicken, a restaurant, and I fit even more than 30%. So, which is quite good. I think I have achieved the game. I should have won. And I still have a couple energy available. But that's where the complexity begins. Because now I can go forward in time. Let's see how this population feel and live in 10 years. And we realize that it's not so well. So, okay, everybody survived, good to know. But my population is ill. Why are they ill? It's not because of the nutritive variety, which is quite good, but because of pollution and greenhouse gases. And about the well-being, my population feels good because there is a good balance between pleasure, doing something else than working for food production, and workload. And now players will face complexity, and they go back in time and try to improve their food production system. As you can see, there is nothing that appears on the interface. So there is a health goal, which is quite low, and the well-being goal, which is quite good now. And also some pictograms that will give you some insight about where you can try to improve your food production system. What can be seen here, it's there and there. I have a lot of greenhouse gases because I allocate some fossil energy. So, okay, let's try. We will remove all the fossil energy. So this is what I did. And just look at the gauge up. So I remove all the fuel energy. I had to remove them with sustainable energy and people working. So now the well-being is quite low. But the health is a little bit better, but I even had to sacrifice one space. So I have less food. And people die. And now players are facing complexity. And the game mechanics is all about that. All try to compromise between people who live, okay, but in good health, with a lot of nutritive variety or not, and with well-being. And going on and on and on, players will try to optimize their food production, but you know what? They will never have a full goal. So, still a research project as well. So we had the opportunity to have a mixed method, such a qualitative process with audio records, still with my GoPro camera. And also the game is producing a lot of trust, thanks to digital keypad who add a server, and we can do some quantitative analysis of the gameplay experience. The perspective is needed, first on a research perspective, we are so far collect until 100 parties, so the game is fully played, and we need a little bit more to do some more quantitative research. And the game could evolve in something even more virtual with hologlasses. But I see some disadvantage about this. For example, it was a collective game, and then you are alone by yourself with your glasses, but you can directly allocate some peaks in various spaces of the museum. This could be a potential perspective. The take-home message will be that this game teaches that there is not a perfect and unique solution for food production. I'm sorry to say that it will be a huge challenge to feed the population in the future. And players, teenagers, must learn about it. A resource management game, which is a resource management game, can be metaphorical because we had to take a really complex system and to simplify it in a small museum where resources are limited, space is limited, and energy as well. And everybody can play HAL 2049, not only the teenagers. At the beginning, we were expected to have a game for players between 12 to maybe 20. And we have even tested with players that are 8 years old. They don't really understand the systemic systemic, but they still have fun in the museum, and adults as well have a lot of fun playing it. The typography, and of course, kudos to Digital Kingdom, the team who did an amazing job to develop this game. Thank you. You can press the game with the tiny URL right there.
Thank you. Any question? Yes.
Thank you so much. I was wondering, how is it possible that the population feel so sick and be very pleased? I mean, if people are like, I would say 20% of the population is sick, it's an issue, and if they are very sick, and they are happy, how is it possible? It was a slide 14.
There. So if they're really sick, can they be happy? Yeah, somehow it depends. If they're really sick, can they be happy? Not really, not really. So somehow there is something wrong there. But sure, health and well-being is quite connected together. Maybe you have a lot of fun because you don't have to work, but at the same time, some people are in a bad shape and a bad mood. So it could be maybe a bit better balance. But most of the times, players have a really low score of health and really low score of well-being. And then they decide to focus on one of the factors. For example, they decide that it's okay if we are 10 people alive, but all of us are in good health and well-being, and I don't care about the 20 who are dead. So we see a lot of playing strategy that are connecting with ethics as well.
Any more questions? Yes.
Thanks for your talk. I guess my question is related to the other one. How realistic are the game mechanics? I guess you have to. I mean, what were your sources? And a very quick one. Why 2049?
Okay. So we had some scientific sources, and it was all about pondering that action in comparison with another one. So we had in our team the director of the museum who was really involved in this kind of food production and know lots about it, much more than me. Also a colleague of mine, and the work was based on scientific documentation. HAL 2049 is related to a science fiction book, I guess. That was instead IE 2049, something like this. So, and 2049 also with the idea that let's see how the population will feed themselves in the future.
Any more questions? Okay, so I think we can close the sessions. Thank you.